Happy New Year everyone, and welcome to 2023, and welcome back or welcome to the GrianaigCreations podcast channel. My name is Kirsty, my pronouns are they, them, and I am coming to you from a really overcast Paisley in Scotland. It doesn't know if it wants to rain, it doesn't know what it wants to do, but it is also getting dark. I'm recording this at about 4 p.m. It's just past 4 p.m. and it's getting real dark, and I'm looking forward to spring starting back up again in probably about two and a bit months. So yeah, that's not the point of this podcast. It's not really a podcast episode. This is just a wee extra that I wanted to do, kind of similar to what I done last year, where I do a bit of a WIP parade to show the WIPs that I am taking into 2023. I've counted them up, although I'm going to have to do another count just to be on the safe side. I have 17 WIPs that I am taking into the new year. 5 of which are blankets, and I can't find one of those 5. So you're only going to see 16. I wonder if I counted the one I'm going to frog. I don't know. We'll go through them. And we'll just see how this episode goes, because by no means is it going to be a polished podcast. I can't be bothered stopping and restarting whenever I make a mistake. So we're just going to go with the flow and hope for the best. Okay, so I'm doing these in absolutely no particular order. If anyone could see where I'm putting my tea right now, I'd probably give you all anxiety. So I'm going to do these in absolutely no particular order, literally just whatever comes to hand first. So the first one in my WIP parade is this. I literally have one sock. I started these socks a couple of years ago, and I think the reason I've really not gone back to it is because I get a lot of transfer from the black in this yarn. It's really not been set very well, and there's nothing nice about working on a project and just getting really dirty hands. So I think it's been on the fence now as to whether or not I'm just gonna make the second sock, or whether I'm just gonna discard this yarn altogether. Excuse me. Because I really feel like the minute these go into water, it's just gonna become black. Like, it's just gonna bleed really badly into the yarn, like the rest of the colours, sorry. So we've got some really nice like yellow and orange, like a reddy orange, and so I am a little bit concerned that the minute water touches this, the black is just gonna leak right into the orange and the yellow. So I might need to look into getting some sort of colour catcher, because I really did like this yarn. I bought it for a reason, and this was yarn I bought in Liverpool in a shop that is no longer going, unfortunately. The owners moved, and so the shop got shut. So I might like to get like a colour catcher and then soak one sock and see how that goes before I decide whether or not I'm going to make the second one. So this is, I think I've carried this over for like 2 years now, because I just kind of put it away and then put it in a box and then I forget about it. So I think I'll maybe put that on the top of my list this year, because socks really don't take me too long. I just need to remember that I seem to have done an Eye of Partridge slip stitch heel. So I'm gonna have to really sit down and work out how I've made this sock. Like, did I do it on a 2.5? Did I do it on a 2.25? It'll be easy to work out like how many stitches I've done. But it's just going to be a case of trying to figure out, well, maybe I can just try and look back in the videos and see when I made these, and if I spoke about what needle size I done. So that's the first one. And this is being stored in a bag my friend Jen in Florida made me, and I really love this bag. It's such a good sock bag. Okay, number 2 is my underwing mitts. So as you know, there was a big hullabaloo, like if you've watched this podcast for a while, you'll know that there was a big hullabaloo about this mitten, because I got to about here before I moved into this flat, which has been nearly 2 years now that I've been here. And then when I picked the mitten back up, my tension just changed dramatically. Like the mitten was like that and then it went in. Like it was really quite dramatic how much this mitten went in by. And for the longest time I was just like, right, they're for me and they are wearable. Like that's the thing, I could wear them. Do I just leave it and hope that it kind of maybe stretches out a little bit over time and doesn't look as severe? Or do I just rip it back and redo it? And I sat on that for a very, very long time, and I asked people's opinions and everyone was like really, really helpful, and a lot of people came back just saying just leave it. Like if you can wear them, just leave it. Like it's absolutely fine. But I think my head got the better of me and I ripped it out and I redone it. And then it's just been sitting like that. Like the thumb still needs finished on this one and that is it. Like, well, obviously there are ends to be woven in, as you can see. But apart from that, like this just needs a thumb and then I just need to do the second one. And what I found when I was originally knitting on these was that it was a really quick knit for me. Like I really, really enjoyed working on these, and it was one of those like those projects where you're just like, one more row. Kind of like when you're reading a book and you're so captured by the book that you're just like one more page, or one more chapter. Like that's exactly what this pattern and project was for me. So this is the Underwing Mittens by Erica Hauser. I don't think I've got... No, I got 2 different patterns in here. That's handy. I want to say it is Erica Hauser, so let me just check my files, because I should have it on my phone. There we go, Underwing Mittens. Yep, Erica Hauser. Well done, my memory. And so I just need to finish the thumb and then do the second mitten, and then that is me. Do I have... I don't have... What's this? Ah, stitch markers. And for some reason in this project bag I have a... what is it? 10,000? No, 1,000 meters of Gutermann thread, so I'm not sure why that's in there. And also a tape measure. See the things you find when you actually start going through stuff you've not touched, oops, in a while. I also have some scrap yarn. I don't know why, there's already scrap yarn on my thumb. So, oh, I have started the second one. I didn't know I'd started this. Oh wow, okay. So I was a wee bit more involved in this project than I thought I was. So I've started the cuff on a 2.5mm 9-inch circular. And I don't know if I've got the full cuff done. Like honestly, I don't recall picking these up, but apparently I have. So maybe since these are already started, these will be a fairly quick finish in 2023. Let's see, time will tell. Okay, I don't want to go into the blankets just yet. So let's go with this one. So in this bag is all the yarn for my crochet hexagons that I am currently putting together, excuse me, hiccup, for the Smaug African Flower Dragon. So this is part of the All the Smaugs cowl that Deborah and I are doing. So that's Deborah of A Diary of a Physicist Farm Gal. So this is a crochet along. This one was probably one of my newest starts of 2020, or sorry, one of my most recent. This was started on December 1st as part of the crochet along, and I think I stopped picking up probably within the first week of December because I did have some I'm not going to say obligation knitting, but I had ones where I'd put a deadline on the project itself, and because Deborah and I don't have a deadline on the crochet along, I felt like I could just leave this one for a while. So this will get picked up in 2023 for definite, but for now I do have some projects that need finished first. So I showed this project off in the most recent podcast, and I think I had maybe about 10 or 11 of these flowers so far. They're actually such a joy to crochet. It's just a shame about all the ends. So I try to secure them as I go. I just don't snip the ends off because I'm wondering if I can get away with just not doing that and then putting the piece together with all the ends still attached. So here are some of the other ones that I've done. You can't really see them for all the ends. I think this one's one of my favourites. It's just so bright and cheery. And then another one of my favourites. And then I've got two more. Like I say, it's really difficult to show these off with so many ends. Okay. Right, I'm just going to pick up a blanket. So this is my Cozy Memories blanket that hasn't been touched for a while. So I only started this in 2020. I was very late to the party for the Cozy Memories blanket, and I don't regret that, and I won't change it. Like, I'm very happy with only really just getting to it, but I know this was very popular probably in like 2019 and then 2020, and I only started mine in 2022. But I still want to try and stick with my process, which is a solid or tonal, variegated, and then a solid, tonal, variegated. And I've done that really, really well so far. And I'm hoping that I can continue this. I have two, they're actually cauldrons, they're like plastic cauldrons that I got for Halloween, full of all the yarn for this project. And I have them separated out. I have a cauldron full of solids and tonals, and then I have another cauldron full of all the variegated yarn. So I've been working with those. But then I keep the project in this yarn bowl that I have with needles, and then I've got a ton of stitch markers as well, so that I can, like when I was working on it more frequently, I could highlight between podcast episodes which was a new square and which was an old square. And so far I think I've made this big enough for like a single, like wide enough for a single, and there is always possibility that I can go back and add more in for a wider blanket. But for now I'm going to aim for a single bed size and then see. But I have started weaving the ends in, so you'll see on the bottom row that all the ends have been woven in. So I will probably go back now and weave in the ones from the second row, and then when I've got the fourth row on, I'll weave in the ends from the third row, sorry. So yeah, this one's not received some love in a while, and to be honest, it probably won't really receive some love for a while, but I would like to try to have some crafting goals for 2023, and in that it will be kind of like on a Sunday, if I don't have plans, let's pick up the scrappy projects. Or I know a lot of people speak quite highly of doing like a week by week project, or some people even do it where they set like a timer to work 30 minutes on one project, 30 minutes on the next, and then 30 minutes on another one. I don't think I really have that mentality to do that. I think I would do much better with 1 week, one project, or 1 day, one project. But I think weekends would be really good for scrappy projects like this, because I think it only takes me about an hour, maybe an hour and a half to do one square. And so I could easily just add a square a week, and then that's still making progress. Another one that is coming into 2023 with me is my mum's sweater, and this is the Morrow Magic Cardigan. I think that's the name of it, but I don't seem to have the pattern. Why do I not have the pattern in here? Okay, I don't. It's probably downstairs. So this is the Morrow Magic Cardigan for my mum. This is a Stephen West pattern. She does not know. Sorry, I thought I heard the door. She does not know what this looks like. She doesn't know which yarns I'm using. All she knows is that there is one skein that she gave to this project, and that's that one. So this one ball of yarn is the only colour that my mum knows about in this project, and this is going to hopefully be enough for the neckband, the collars, the cuffs, the hems, like all of that, everything that will go around the outside of the garment. So I'm really hoping I have enough. I want to get at least the neckband, the two cuffs and the hem done, and then I'll figure out if I have enough for the button bands. If I don't have enough for the button bands, I might see if there's enough for at least the outside button band, because you know how one always overlaps the other. So we'll see. There's method to my madness, but this project has also just been put down for just a little bit whilst I get 2 other projects finished, and one just needs its ends woven in, so in my eyes that is a finished project. So until this is finished, you don't get to see what this looks like, because I don't want it to spoil for my mum, because she does watch these. Hi Mum. Okay, next up is something just super simple and super small, and excuse me, it is the start of a necklace. So I made this necklace, this ruffle type necklace that I really, really love. Let's see. I just don't want to tie my hair into it. I'll just secure it quite lightly. So I made this necklace after running into my friend Julie, and she was wearing this really gorgeous like collar, but I didn't want anything around the back of my neck, so I went with an I-cord, and then I added some ruffles that way, so that it's not going all the way around, and it's also just statement and chunky enough. So I've started a second one with the same colour of I-cord, but I think I'm going to go with like a really high contrast difference for the ruffles. And I'm also going to make the ruffles in this one just a little bit more subtle. Like the ruffles on this one are quite big, like there's a lot there, and so I think I will make one with a slightly more subtle ruffle. I also kind of maybe want to make it longer. I ran out of one of the two yarns because I borrowed the yarns here. So I ran out of the two to make it longer. So this one's just going to be much more different compared to the first necklace. So that's just a simple I-cord just now that will become a necklace. The next WIP I'm taking into the new year is my goddaughter's sweater. If you have seen my last podcast, you'll see that I haven't actually made any progress on these sleeves. I decided to start a jigsaw puzzle, and that's been what's taking up a lot of my attention because it's taking up a lot of space. So I'm hopeful to get the sleeves on the go in the next couple of days, and I really should be able to just hammer through those sleeves so that this will be finished and I can gift it to my goddaughter. Why is he slamming doors? Scott's up. He went for a nap. Okay. Next one is my Rowley Scarf, which is a gorgeous brioche shawl. Well, maybe is it a scarf or a shawl? I'm not sure. I'd say it's a scarf. So this is the Rowley. This is the right side, and then this is the wrong side. So if I hold it up, you can get a better look at the two colours. Really, I don't think there's any, like with all brioche projects, there isn't really a right and a wrong side as long as you love both the colours. And I'm not even halfway through with this project and it's already very wide and not very long, which is what makes me think it's more of a scarf. But yeah, this is a project I really need kind of peace and quiet for. Like, I can't do it when Scott's playing a game that remotely interests me, because I get really caught up and fascinated by some of the games he plays, and therefore I get distracted and then I'm more prone to making mistakes. There are lifelines in here, that you can see the lifeline running through, because I'm not quite there when it comes to fixing brioche mistakes. I can try, but I'm probably not fixing it correctly. So there are definite lifelines put in, like I've got lifelines all the way down this project that I could probably take out now, but they'll probably just stay in, they're not doing any harm. It also helps me count the repeats by keeping the lifelines in. And I also take a note of where I finish up on my iPad. So this is a project where I'm working from my iPad. I don't normally do that, I normally print the pattern off. But because I have the iPad, I can mark on the pattern where I was, like where I finished up when I put the project down. Which is also a huge help, because it's very easy to get lost in this project. So the Rowley Scarf, because I've not spoke about it in a while, I don't know if it's Rowley or Rowley. I say Rowley, is a shawl or a scarf. Well, she's got it as Rowley shawl, but it then says halfway between a shawl and a scarf. And so this is by Marie-Amélie Designs. It was free on Ravelry. I don't know if it still is, but it definitely was free when I got my hands on it. And this is the two yarns. So this one is Queen of Pearls, who I don't think is dyeing yarn at all anymore. And this one is Woo Sheeps, and it's got a sparkle. Don't know how well that's going to come across. So yeah, hopefully I will get that finished fairly quickly into 2023, and then I can wear it in all its squishy goodness. Next up on the projects is my hooded shawl cardigan. Let me make sure I'm actually saying that correctly. Where's the front page? Hoodie shawl cardigan. And this is a project by Suzanne Summers. And it's all scrunched up. And this has been on the languishing WIP pile because for a while there the purling was hurting my hands. So I've split for the sleeves. I am onto the body, and now I was working away on the body, and I am doing alternating rows because I have such a variegated yarn. I probably could get away with just working one and then the next ball after that one's finished, but I am doing alternating rows. So I have one ball at one end and one ball at another end. So I will do the purl back and then I will switch to the other ball. So I do a knit row and then a purl row, swap balls, knit row, purl row, swap back, and so on and so forth. And I think that really helps to minimise any what's the word? Flashing? Like pulling, there we go. I think that helps minimise any pulling with this yarn, but I really, really love how this is working up. So the purple is Foxglove by Woolly Knit, and that is in the British yarn. The next one is, do I have the ball band? Oh, I don't remember the colourway. It's by Lovebug Yarns, and I'm really sorry, I don't remember the colourway. I want to say it's like Mermaid Tail or something like that. I would need to look back at when I was showing this off for the normal podcast episodes. I don't remember the name of it. That's annoying because the ball bands aren't in the bag and I try to keep them there. Then the next one is, I want to say it's like Squid Ink or something like that, and it is by Fiberpunk. This isn't one of their self-stripers. I know a lot of people are coming to know Fiberpunk for self-striping, but he does other yarn that's not self-striping and it's equally as awesome. So this is all of the yarn in its glory. Let's see if I can try and smooth some of the bottom bit out so you can see it all together. And I think it just works so well. Like, this project looks so good. And I hope to be able to get back to it soon, and I hope that when I do, the purling doesn't hurt my hands too much, because that's really what was becoming the slog of this project. Like, that's what was really starting to get me down, was the fact it was actually physically hurting me to work on this. But at least this one's on project needles. The next one I'm going to show off, I've taken the needles off. And I don't know why I said project needles. Yeah, this one's actually on knitting needles. I've taken the knit needles off of the next project for another project that has now been finished. And I'm just hoping that I literally just went with the knit needles in the project. Otherwise I'm going to have to look back on videos again to see what knitting needles I used. Like, I'm so bad at doing this. And this is why I really want to start back up my journaling for my projects, so that I can actually remember, like, look back easily and see what needles it was, what the colourway was called, So yeah, I'm going to be starting that back up again in 2023 for definite. It was also just like a nice creative outlook for me that was a bit different. So like I said, the next project does not have needles. This is stay. This is the Dustland Sweater by Stephen West. This is the Gansey inspired sweater that he brought out. And this is actually quite far on. So this is the yoke up here. I've split for the sleeves here. And then I've actually got quite a lot of the body done. Excuse all the creases and the crimples and stuff like that. It's been stored away for quite some time. But this yarn, it just works so well for this texture. Like, it's honestly amazing. So this yarn is Crinkle Crinkle, Lamia Premium Knitting, Hand Knitting Wool, and it's called Just Wool. And it is 100% recycled wool, and it's really nice. I don't know, I think I got this at the Hobbycraft event in Glasgow, and it was in one of those stalls. I think it's like Black Sheep Yarns or something, where when you turn up to their stall, they have full packs of yarn on a slight reduction from what you would normally pay per ball. And so I think I picked this up at one of those events, because it's the only reason why it explains why I have a full pack of the yarn. But it's really, it's soft as well. It's really soft. And it's just going to make for such an excellent jumper. So yeah, I'm going to need to look back and see what size needles I was using for this. But again, this will also hopefully get picked back up in 2023 and finished, because I deserve a sweater. I do. I deserve my own sweater. I haven't finished a sweater for myself in what feels like a long time. Okay, let's do another blanket. This one hasn't received love in a while. Mostly because I didn't know where it was. So this is the Crochet Ripple Blanket by Attic24. Let's pop the bag with the yarn down. Let's not pull the last stitch out. Okay, so there are ends. There are a lot of ends. It's not the deepest blanket in the world, but it is certainly a long blanket. And I think I've also designed this one to go across our king size bed. But this is using up leftover Aran weight yarn that I had kicking around for some reason. I don't know if maybe my mum has gifted it to me over the years, but it's certainly yarn that I don't remember picking up for myself. Or maybe I did. Like, this is old yarn. But yeah, again, like I say, it's not the deepest blanket in the world, but it is certainly still a really gorgeous blanket. So my hopes are to do it like this cream, purple, red, cream, red, purple, and then this random blue, and then do the opposite. So this was purple, red, cream, red, purple. So I'm going red, purple, cream, purple, red. And then I'll do the blue, and then it will go back to the purple, red, cream, red, purple. and so on and so forth. So I'm hoping that all of this will be enough for this project. If not, I could always try and throw in some random extra iron weight yarn. But I've got this much of the cream, which is not a lot. I'm gonna have to pick up more cream. This giant ball of purple, which I think is going to be enough. The red, on the other hand, not as convinced. This is even smaller than the cream. And then I have two blues. This is where it gets a little bit confusing. I've got this seriously turquoise, like it's blowing out on my screen. It's that bright of a turquoise. And then, I'm dropping yarn. Then I have this deeper teal, which is gorgeous. And I don't have that much of that project either. So I think I'm going to have to start introducing more colours. I thankfully do have some extra iron weight yarn. But I think I would definitely maybe look to get more of this cream. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to do it in sections. So maybe like this is one section, and then I'm going to have to introduce a different section and kind of do it as blocks of stripes. So this would be the one block, and then I would change to a different main colour. So I'd like to think that the cream is the main colour on this section, and then I could maybe change to the next main colour. I don't know. This is the first time I've pulled this out probably this entire year, so it's got the creative juices flowing. Oh, this is hard project bag to pick up. Okay, the next one you have seen fairly recently on my podcast episode if you've watched it, and that is my ever-growing crochet granny stripe blanket. I'm not going to get the full thing out. It's a beast of a blanket. It's so close to being finished. Sorry, I keep having to cough. It's so close to being finished. I need to do another fit check. I think I said that in my last podcast episode. Just so that I can drape it over the bed and see just how much more I need to get to the pillows. I reckon I've only got about that much more to go, but we'll see. I still have all of this, and I have more scraps left. I've just not made another magic knot ball because they're currently sitting in a really cool glass that shows off the minis. So I don't want to make up the magic knot ball unless I have to because of where they are currently being displayed. So yeah, I might actually put my jigsaw puzzle away and work on this tonight because I just want something cozy and comfy. And this is definitely cozy, like this blanket keeps you so warm. Okay, so another project, do not keep dropping yarn, that I'm taking into 2022 is these socks. These were meant to be finished for Christmas. That did not happen. That really did not happen. And that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I had other things going on. I did kind of lose my knitting mojo for a while as well, which did not help. But they've had progress on them, more so than what they had before. This is when I find out like I've actually done like wrong sizes and stuff. No, they're good. So it's just plain knitting, literally onto the foot and then the toe, and then that's them done. So again, shouldn't take too long. Fingers crossed. They're just vanilla socks. The yarn is Holly and the Ivy by Popeye Yarn Company. I spoke about them on my last podcast. Next one, however, I don't know how I feel about this sock. I done it so that I could do this type of tab for the back of the sock. And they are meant to be like little shorties with a tab. And I don't know if it's just because I'm going to have to sew that down, like all around the top of the foot you have to sew it down. So it's not even just the back, you have to sew the front down as well. And I'm just not sure how I'll get on with that. I tried them on and I literally need to put the toe in. And then that should be it, and then sew down the tab. So I might just put the toe in and then try and sew it down and see how I feel. If I don't like it, I'll rip it out and I'll repurpose the yarn into just other socks, because I knit on a 2.25mm needle, and so I'm working with very small stitches. Like, I have a very tight gauge, and so I'm worried that sewing it down is also just going to make it too tight. I can only try. That's the thing. I can literally only try and see how I get on. If I do it too tight, like, I'm just going to have to, like I said, I'm just going to have to try. That's literally all I can do is try. Wow, do I only have one more project to show off? This is the yarn. Oh no, I've got two, and then I've got one that I can't find. And it's a blanket. I can't find the blanket. I think it might be downstairs. I'm not sure. So next one is a very fuzzy blanket. This is a corner to corner knitted blanket that I am doing with two yarns. So one is like a teddy bear yarn, and then the other one is, I'm going to go with acrylic. I'm not entirely sure. The ball band is not in English, so I'm not 100%. But I've put those two together and I've started a corner to corner blanket that I actually do really, really like. I'm struggling to find the motivation to work on this one, and I don't know if it's because I'm doing it on 5.5mm needles, and also it's just not a crochet blanket. I love a good crochet blanket, but maybe I'll get back to it at some point. Okay, last project I can show off is one that's probably going to go into the frog pile. I'm just not as enthusiastic about the idea of it now than I was when I started. And I don't know, we'll see. But it is the start of my knitted colour work, making it up as I go along cowl. So I think I'm going to frog it. I think I have enough projects just now, and if I frog this one, then I can maybe look to start another one in the new year. Like, much into the new year. I have some projects I genuinely need to get off the needles first, but yeah, I think this is just going to get frogged, and then I would love to get the 8-bit doodle cowl cast on, and then that will give me the colour work that I'm craving. But I think my enthusiasm for this project, especially considering I'm literally making it up as I go along, which means there's more brain power involved, I've stalled out. I've completely stalled out on this project, and I'm just like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't need that. So yeah, I'll just pull the needles out now. So if you've been holding on to a project that, you know, you've lost your love for, you know you're not going to pick it back up, I hope you see this and you take it as your moment to be like, I'm doing what they're doing. It's not a project for me. I'm not going to enjoy working on it. Let's just pull the needles out and frog that sucker. I actually forgot I had this project. That's how much I've lost the drive to work on it. Right, the next bit's got 2 colours, so I'm not doing that. I'll deal with that later. But I freed up some needles, and I have a freed up space for a new project. The one I can't find is the Crochet Blanket that is the Yarn Eater or the Wool Eater project. I have a sneaky suspicion it's downstairs, but I'm not entirely sure. I've let a lot of my projects get away from me this year. I've let a lot slide into a second year running. And I think that's for like a whole host of different reasons. A lot of it can be down to just losing your mojo, losing the love for the project, that kind of thing. But I really hope to get some of these finished within the first couple of months of the year, if not definitely by halfway through. The sweater for my goddaughter, that's going to be the first one that definitely needs to get finished. I reckon I'll actually take that downstairs. Instead of the blanket, I'm going to take that downstairs. I'm going to not cast on the sleeves, but I'm going to pick up the stitches for the sleeves and I'm going to really start working on that tonight so that I can get that to her before it gets too warm for sweaters. So that's the first one that needs to get finished. And then I'm going to start working back on my mum's sweater, because that was meant to be her Christmas present. It technically is still her Christmas present. We just didn't stipulate which Christmas. So all the projects that really are probably going to not see the most amount of love are the biggies. So all my blankets. As much as they bring me joy and comfort working on them, they're also very big projects that, let's face it, were never intended to be finished. I've just remembered I have another project, and it is the Morrow sweater or the pullover, and all it needs done on it is 2 cuffs and the icord, and I'm looking at the bag. Like, I am looking at the bag. It's been staring at me this whole time, and I didn't even consider it a WIP. I've even got the yarn for like the cuffs and the icord in the bag now that didn't used to have that. So that's 18 projects. Or am I back down to 17 because I frogged one? I don't know. I don't know if I counted the one that was being frogged at the very beginning. So yeah, that is all the WIPs I am taking into 2023, and that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I cast on a lot of stuff this last year. Some of it's been on the needles since before 2020, and I never got around to it in the last year. That is also okay. I really hope if you are bringing any projects through to the new year that you're not beating yourself up about it, and that you're just going to go with the flow. It is what it is. It's happened. You now can't change it. You can't turn back time. But maybe, hopefully, if it still brings you joy, you'll get it finished. And if it doesn't bring you joy, maybe sit down and think about it and be like, right, is the project for you first of all? Do you still want it? If not, would it bring you more joy to rip it out and repurpose the yarn? If it's for somebody else, then that's kind of a different story, and you either have to say to them, look, I can't make this anymore, if they know about it, or if it's like a commission, you kind of just have to bite the bullet and get it done. But yeah, 2023, I have big dreams for 2023. I'm not going to set like any restrictive goals or anything like that. I think a lot of my goals are going to be quite freeing in the sense that what I said earlier about maybe Sundays are just going to become like a scrappy Sunday for me, and I can sit down and do like a square on my Cozy Memories blanket, a row on my Granny Stripe blanket, that kind of thing. But I really need to sit down and think about what's going to work for me when it comes to working through these projects. Is it going to be work on it until it's completed, regardless of time frame? Or is it going to be work on one project per day? I've just remembered I do have one cross stitch project that I'm taking into 2023. But I've not really been working on my cross stitch that much. I do need a much better floor lamp, especially considering I am using Black Ada for that project. So I've just remembered that, and that's why that's not been shown off. It is actually, it's in one of the two cubbies beside me, and I'm not going to try and pull them out because I'm not sure which one it's in, to be honest. But yeah, so approximately 17 projects that I'm carrying into 2023. I do have plans to be casting on some projects. We are doing a knit along for the Kelvin Hall shawl that starts technically tomorrow. So I'm recording this on the 31st, but it's going to be going live on the 1st, hence why I started it with saying Happy New Year. But we are going to be casting on the Kelvin Hall shawl. I may or may not be doing casting on for the Adventurist. I really want to try the Bear Paw socks by Andrea Mowry. I've been watching a lot of Susan of Knitlib, and she has been working on those socks, and as weird as they look whilst you're working on them, like, I'm very fascinated by the heel on them because it's a toe-up heel. I also really want to start casting on some of the projects in one of my last videos that I put up. I will try and link it with all the stuff I want to cast on. So yeah, there's a lot of creativity in my future, and that makes me extremely happy. But it also reminds me that I do have projects that do need my attention before I really go crazy casting on a lot of stuff. Another thing I do hope to do this year is cast on a lot more crochet things and not blankets. Like, I would love to start making a lot of things from the Morrow magazine. They have some gorgeous crochet patterns. Like, if you can crochet, or like, you know, someone you can just borrow that magazine from for like a wee flick through, I would highly recommend it. It's amazing. There's some things in there that a lot of people are like, we didn't know you could do that in crochet. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for watching through this video with me. Let me know in the comments below how many projects, if any, are you taking into 2023. Were you able to cast off your projects? Like, did you get everything finished and wrapped up for coming into the new year? Or are you like me, where you have more than a couple of projects that are following you into the year? Let me know in the description box. Let me know in the comments box below. And until then, I will talk to you later. Stay safe and happy crafting. Bye! I want to say PS, I literally just found another one. So this is meant to be Charizard. So I have another crochet project I have yet to finish. So there's another one to add to my list. Hopefully I will be able to get him cast off this year because the project looks immense. So yeah, I literally just found that because I was emptying out my storage container that I'm going to be putting all my WIPs into, so they're all in one place. So I've just found him, so there's another one to add.